I just recently hit top 1000 in FACEIT for North America Counter-Strike, so here are 5 tips that brought me all the way up from level 10 up to that top 1000 spot. Starting off with mentality. Mentality is one of the biggest things that affects a lot of pugs and is really any game of Counter-Strike in general. Almost every single player I know tilts in some sort of way, even if they're winning or if they're losing as well. But I want to talk about 2 different types of tilting and what you can do to avoid both of these scenarios. Starting off, you have your standard tilt, which is probably what you're used to. It's when you're losing your gunfights, and a lot of the time we're just getting shit on. You either get mad or just upset in general at the game, and you typically perform worse because of it. You get into this mindset where you're thinking, oh, GG, the game's over, might as not well try anyway. Then on the other hand, you have something called winner's tilt. Winner's tilt is something that my ESEA team even struggles with, and I struggle with as well, and essentially is the opposite of loser's tilt. For example, if you're ahead in the game, like you're winning by 9-3 on the half, you kind of get into this mentality where like, okay, GG, the game's over, we already won. This leads to sloppy gameplay and overall just bad choices in decision making, when in reality, the game is much closer than you think. Especially in a format like MMR 12, where it only takes 13 rounds to win a game, comebacks are inevitable. If you switch to CC side on a 9-3 half, it only takes 1 pistol round and that first buy round for the game to be only 7-9. And once you're in that position, the game feels a lot closer and you're gonna be a lot more worried and stressed out. So in general, when you're heading into a game, always make sure you're on top of your game and you're really trying to finish the game out. No matter what the score is, if you're losing 3-9 or if you're winning 9-3, always remember you have a chance to close out the game and you might as well try to the very end. Tip number 2 is to learn every single CT position. This is something that has helped me tremendously because when I'm solo queuing or even duo queuing, I can always be that person that can say, hey, I can play this position if you don't want to, or I can fill kind of a gap for our team. If you can learn the majority of positions on the majority of the maps, it'll be super beneficial to not only your team, but you as a player. I actually have a full video surrounding about this and how I did it coming out on Thursday, so don't miss that one. Then tip number 3 is to improve your fundamentals. As Counter-Strike players, we all have our fundamentals, and a lot of players decide that they just want to play pugs like FACEIT all the time, and that is their way to improve at the game. While it isn't an incorrect way about going about it, there's definitely much more effective and faster ways to improve besides just playing pugs all day. For the past 2 months, I've personally been following an aim routine as well as doing things like refrag to kind of get better at movement, pre-firing, crosshair placement, literally everything. I'm also someone that likes to watch a lot of player POVs, demos, all that sort of stuff to get as much info and to get better with my game sense and generally just to learn the game more. When you're doing these things like aim training, playing things like refrag, lots of deathmatch, watching a lot of demos, you're gonna improve much faster than someone who's just playing pugs all day. So I definitely look at trying to get into some sort of routine, even if you're just playing for fun. If you're playing for a couple hours a day, maybe try and play some aim maps or just watch a POV once a day. Because having a constant routine has been super beneficial to me, and I've improved so much in the last 2 months because of it. Tip number 4 is to play with friends if possible. Playing with friends, in my opinion, is the most fun way to play FACEIT and really anything like Premier, because in general, you have 2 teammates or even 1 teammate to rely on. Playing solo queue can be fun at times, but if you do have toxic teammates or if you're queued with a 4-stack, it can be kind of a struggle to play with.
Green, what's your problem, Green? What is your problem? Missile alone ramp. Missile alone ramp.
In my opinion, the sweet spot is definitely trio queuing. It's the easiest in my opinion. You have 2 teammates that you can rely on, especially on the CT side. If you want to pair up with your teammate on a site, it makes it much easier in terms of coordination. And if you don't really have any friends that play Counter-Strike, you can also check out a bunch of different hubs on FACEIT. Mythic League is one of the biggest hubs in North America, and there's a bunch of players that play in that, and you can easily find teammates in there to play pugs with. But do remember, if you are queuing, make sure you're communicating with your team, because it sucks being that solo queue who's in a game with a 3-stack or even a 4-stack, and they're simply not communicating at all. It makes the game much harder for them, and their performance will probably show from it. So about tip number 5, this is something that I think everyone can improve at, especially myself, and is avoiding slumps and taking breaks. Players have slumps all the time. It's inevitable. You can't be consistent or have amazing performances back to back games for days and days. It's simply not possible. However, even though a lot of people realize that, people continue to queue after game and they get into something called loser's queue. They continue to lose over and over again, and they simply cannot get a win on their hands. And sometimes it's not even your performance either. Sometimes it can be your teammates or just the general environment that you're in. And a lot of the times when people get into these big losing streaks, they keep playing more and more, thinking that they're gonna get on some sort of win streak to get that elo back. And trust me, as someone who's done this many times, it never happens. This happened to me just over a month ago when I hit top 1000 for the first time and hit my peak elo at 2,675, and I dropped all the way down to 2,275. I lost 400 elo in just 2 days. I continued to play game after game, and I lost 9 games in a row, won 1, and then continued to lose another 4 right after that. I felt like I was the worst player ever, and I decided to take a break, and well, what'd you know, I come back a couple days later, I feel much better, I'm playing a lot better, and the game is so much more enjoyable. And a lot of the times, that's just the thing you need to do. When you know you're falling into a slump, and you're consistently underperforming, or getting into these losers queues, just take a break. Take a break from the game for 1 to 2 days, come back, and it'll be worth your time. I hope you guys enjoyed these 5 tips. These all helped me so much, and I really couldn't find a lot of this on other YouTube videos, so I try to include everything from my own experience in these videos and things that I've personally done to improve as a player and to hit that top 1000 spot. In my next video on Thursday, I'll be going over everything that you need to do to increase your win rate in FACEIT and Premier matches, and that has a lot to do with learning CT positions. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you want to go check out some free resources like aim routines, warm-ups, demo reviews, and more, go join the Discord down in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.